And welcome to Tonight with Tarek. I am your host, Tarek, and I'm coming live to you from beautiful Miami. Oh, this way? This way, yes, that's Miami. And today we have a great group of people with you. We have our regular Al D. What's up, Al D?
Hey! So happy to be back.
Yeah, my very good friend, possible future president, Allison McCoin.
The Allison McCoin.
Hello.
Oh my God.
Hello. Hi.
Madame President. Is that what you say? Yes, right? Madame President.
Madame. Yes,
Madame,
that is correct.
Madame. Okay, cool. You can call me Your Majesty. Anyways, and our very special guest comedian of the night, one of my favorite comedians lately, a tremendous writer, coming to us live from Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mariam Sobh.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, what's up, Mariam? How are you?
Good, just chilling. Like a villain.
Like a freaking villain, exactly. Well, welcome to Tonight with Tarek. I'm going to talk a little now, Mariam, but you can chime in a little bit. We keep it open here. It's like a panel. I wanted to talk today about being an Arab. Because me, I'm an Arab. Yes.
You are?
Yes. I'm sorry. I know. And not only am I an Arab, but I'm like the worst kind, I'm a Palestinian. I know. Like, just ruining everyone's plans, right? Yeah, being Palestinian is weird. Lots of weird shit happens to you. I went on a date like 3 years ago with an Israeli guy that was pursuing me for a while, and he knew I was Palestinian and everything. And then when we finally went on the date, I was talking about Palestine, and he kept saying, "Oh, don't say Palestine. Oh, no, you're not Palestinian. That doesn't exist." And he was correcting me like as if after living my life like 30 years as a Palestinian, one freaking date was going to convince me, okay, you know what? I don't exist. Like,
no dick is that good.
No dick is that, right? Like, I'm like, okay, are you trying to like change my mind, Anyways, so it got uncomfortable, so I pretended to go to the bathroom and I ghosted him. Of course, he calls me a few minutes later or whatever, and he's like, "Where did you go?" And I was like, "Well, I don't exist, so goodbye." Right? That was, yeah. Also, look, I'll tolerate a little bit. I mean, if he was cuter, I would have fucked him for the land, but he wasn't. Okay, so I didn't do it. Anyways, Palestine's always on the news, as most of you know. But lately we've been on the news a lot. Some of it positive because Seth Rogen, the famous comedian, you guys know Seth?
Yeah.
Well, he's a Jewish Canadian and he grew up going to Israel and he knows a lot about Israel. And he recently mentioned in a podcast that he thought that he had been lied to his whole life about the reality of Israel and Palestine. And then that became a huge controversy. Of course, Palestinians were very grateful because he's a very prominent, young, beloved Jewish person. But then he took it back.
No.
What do you mean?
Well, apparently his mom called him and told him that he had to call a Jewish organization and talk to them and take it back. And he kind of like apologized and took it back, but he didn't. And all I have to say is that, I don't know, it made me angry mostly because what privilege, okay, to be 40 years old, grown up going to Israel, been a multi-millionaire with lots of resources, and only now starting to realize, oh, there's an issue with this place, right? Like, I wish I had that privilege. Like, I knew how to spell occupation at the age of 5.
There's illegal settlements, what?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, oh my God. And he didn't even say Palestine or ethnic cleanse. He didn't use any trigger word. All he said was that apparently there were some people before Israel was established on the land. That's all he said, bro. Oh Apparently. Allegedly. But anyways, not everything's bad. We're getting more representation as Arabs. We have Mariam. Yay!
I think I count as a half representative.
I'm a Guatemalan Arab, so ditto. I'm a half breed. you know. But we have this show now, Rami. You guys have seen Rami, heard of Rami? It's like winning Golden Globes. And I was like not wanting to watch it, not really interested. And then people kept asking me, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? I was like, I don't know, let me check it out, right? So I finally checked it out, and it's cute. It's nice to see the Arab representation, the music, the food, the culture. Totally can relate, felt represented a lot. But it's just another 30-year-old comedian with an existential crisis, you know? And it's like, it's like kind of like Insecure, the series, you know? But in Jersey, and none of these guys are cute. They couldn't have one cute Arab. Come on. There's nothing for the gays. Nothing for the gays. Okay. Nothing for the gays. And this guy is like so stressed about his decisions and all the shit he's doing. He's like, season 2 starts off and he's really stressed about eating too many gummy bears and like watching too much porn. Like, what? Gummy bears and porn? That would be like me in recovery. You know, that would be me making my sponsor proud.
That's a great afternoon.
You made it to season 2 though?
I started. I could. This is what kept me from watching it. He goes to his sheikh, which is like a priest or a holy Muslim man, and he goes for advice, and he's feeling guilty because he slept with a married woman, you know? And I'm like, oh, get over it, you know? If I had to go to a priest and tell him everything I did with married men, he wouldn't be a priest. I mean, he couldn't be. Oh my God. Anyways, that's it for me. This is Tonight with Tarek. We're going to take a little break, but when we come back, Al Z is going to tell us a little bit about immigration. Stay tuned. We're clear. All right, and we are back with Tonight with Tarek. How we doing, Aldi? Like the supermarket?
Doing great. And yes, like the supermarket, cheap and accessible.
Yeah.
Don't forget the accessible.
Variety.
For everyone. Not everyone.
Yeah. Well, this week we're doing a little something different. Usually we're very playful, but this week we wanted to talk about something that's very dear to both our hearts, especially yours. So,
my heart, yes.
Yes, tell me about it.
So today I wanted to share with you guys some information about being a dreamer, like a DACA recipient, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of shit that's just not accurate. And I feel like dreamers don't have a voice or like someone that's like, let's set the record straight. So I hope that I can start that conversation and maybe someone watching will learn something. So
I'm sure they will. Again, a dreamer is a child that was brought here by their parents illegally. So it's not their fault.
They're not a child anymore.
And they're not a child anymore. And yeah, they usually they don't have anything to do with the country they came from. So some of them don't even speak the language or have any relations, you know? So anyways.
Yeah. So I want to show you a little bit of a presentation. So let's,
ooh.
Can you enable sharing, Pita?
Hello, Pita.
Let's do this. But yeah, basically it's DACA. It's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Just means when you get to this country before the age of 16, you qualify to be a part of DACA and be a DACA recipient, which they've labeled as dreamers. which is kind of ironic because to me it's like a nightmare, but you know, the dream, the American dream. So let's do this here. So it's DACA. What it means to be documented, because we made that up, that the dreamers, because we're not undocumented fully, but we're not also documented, so we're documented. Okay. So dreamers, and I put this because every time the people start, you may say that I'm a dreamer, and it's not like the John Lennon song. So let's get that out. If you're tuning in now, a dreamer, let's get that song out of the system, okay? So like I
Every
said,
time I hear
action
it,
for childhood.
think about it.
Yeah, I know. And it's for young immigrants who moved to the United States before 16. And there's so many requirements to be able to hold a Dreamer card. But the main ones is you have to have completed high school or high school equivalent, and you have to have a spotless criminal record. So that means the smallest thing can jeopardize your ability to have DACA, which a lot of people don't understand, that DACA recipients are good people that live by the law, you know, like you can't risk losing that. So we keep a spotless criminal record. Everything is clean AF.
Yeah.
So,
actually, immigrants in general tend to be more law-abiding than natural born citizens. Also, like I immigrated here, and I grew up being told by my parents, never commit a crime in the United States, they'll never let you back in. And I've never committed a crime.
And we take that serious.
Oh my God, but yeah.
And I made a little chart of what it's like to be a dreamer, like the path. It's you move to the US, and then according to some people, you steal some jobs. And then that you have to live up to the sacrifice your parents made by leaving everything behind for your ungrateful ass.
Yeah.
The 3 steps of being a dreamer. Just an immigrant, like a child of, you're an immigrant yourself as a child, but your parents are, you know, older.
Yeah.
That's a little table. And I threw this in here. That's hot. That's what Paris Hilton said when she was asked about DACA. Thank you, Paris.
Enlightening. Oh
I had to put something gay. I had to make it gay. And Paris,
yeah.
Gay did you get?
So, it says a lot, because like you shouldn't even question it. It shouldn't be even a question. You know?
And because I know that people like to hear numbers, and when you mention numbers, people open their eyes and they're like, oh, this is actually something useful. And like Paris also said, probably the stats are like knowledge. So let's build some knowledge about what DACA recipients will contribute to America over the next 10 years. So we're looking at $433.4 billion to the GDP. We're looking at $60 billion in fiscal impact and $12.3 billion in taxes to Social Security and Medicare. So for people who think that DACA recipients are here freeloading, I really, really try to spread these stats as much as I can, because it's an insane amount of growth for the country. Like, what's more American than trying to give this land money?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
And a lot of people don't know these facts either. Like, I had to research myself. Like, I didn't know that I was contributing this much.
But yeah, no, we contribute. Even if people are working under the table, some immigrants work under the table and don't pay taxes. Some of them use fake socials, which pay into the the system. But you pay property taxes through your rent. You pay sales taxes through everything you buy. You pay many taxes all day through, you know, many purchases we make. So
exactly, yeah.
Yes, they all continue. They're all contributing. So yes. What else?
And now we usually do the game Guess the Real Fake News. So I figured we could still do it and have fun with it, but it's DACA edition. So I'm gonna just say a statement. It's gonna be a total of 3, and you're gonna tell me if it's a true statement or false. Okay.
All right.
So the first statement is DACA provides a path to citizenship. True or false?
False.
False.
That is false, yes. As of right now, there is no path to citizenship even with DACA. So it's like what I like to call restricted freedom. The next one is DACA college students get free college.
False.
False.
That is super false. And that one frustrates me the most because I'm someone that has had to hold their education for years at a time because I wasn't able to pay out of pocket, even for community college. We don't even qualify for FAFSA.
Yeah, I think that's the one where I got to know a lot of dreamers. Is a lot of friends of mine would drop out of school or had struggling. And I was like, why aren't you getting it? Oh, because I'm a dreamer.
Yeah.
But
so like a community college, one class is you're looking at around $1,000 here in Florida because we don't even get in-state tuition in Florida. So yeah. Now the third one, DACA recipients are just sexier. Is that true or false?
True.
They're pretty sexy, I have to say.
I mean, just look at LD. No, but really, I just want to get the message across that this is the only land I've ever known. We moved here when I was 11. I'm 29 now. I am as much of a part of this country as anyone else, and I just wish that someday we can get somewhere better with our immigration system. If anyone ever has questions about DACA or what it means to, I'm always open. My DMs are open for DACA and much more.
Girl.
You know, I have to plug in.
Keep it immigration. Anyways, thank you, Aldi. That was very educational and very important. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to have a very nice conversation with presidential nominee, Allison McCoin. And we are back with Tonight with Tarek. And please help me welcome presidential nominee, Allison McCoin, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for having me. And I just want to note, not only am I pro DACA, but even if you are an unregistered citizen, please fill out the census. It does not matter if you have documentation or anything like that. Please fill out the census. This isn't a joke. Let's continue.
Yes.
Yeah, I overfilled it. I added extra people just so that we get more money. Anyways, no, I'm kidding. Anyways, Madame President, maybe Madame President in the future. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what you thought of our recent local elections. I personally was very disappointed. One of the people I wanted to get de-seated was Kathy Rundle.
Yeah.
She didn't. She's going to be with us for, I believe, a fourth term, is it?
Yeah, no, it's really sad. And part of it's because only 28% of registered voters in Miami-Dade County actually voted.
Wow. And why do you think?
Yes. Do we get the best candidates every time we go to vote? No. But part of that is because we're not engaged. If you don't vote in a primary, there's not going to be a good candidate for the general election.
And what's your prediction based on this for general election then?
Okay, well, she's going to win. Like the Republicans aren't even having anyone run against her because she's so good at what she does.
Yeah, that's true. She's so conservative too that the Republicans love her, even though
that's a good sign for somebody.
Yeah. Well, talk to us a little bit about you and your platform.
Yes. Well, one of my big platforms that I've just recently come up with is I'm going to run government like a business. Now, I know you've heard this before, especially by my Republican colleagues, and that's because they're bad at business. The last time I checked, when you want to run a business, you want to increase your profits every quarter, which is why we're going to put a lot of money into the IRS. We are going to make sure we are making our money so that we can provide services for our citizens that are much needed.
What services would you say are needed the most and most immediately?
Oh, most immediately. Oh, well, of course, housing assistance. Right now with the pandemic, we definitely need people under roofs. Food assistance, childcare, Medicare for all. The list is literally endless. of the things that we could do if we had more money.
All right. What you gonna do about our severely militarized police? Which is not only, of course, it's a lot against Black people, but in general, the police is quite militarized.
No, it is a bad thing overall, because if you're a police officer, you are dealing with fellow citizens.
Did you see the old lady who got arrested in a gated community in Florida? And the police almost broke her arms and she had to go to the hospital, and it was all very unnecessary. But
yeah, I
the old lady
completely believe that. That's the problem. Like, I didn't see it, but I'm like, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah. Like, wow.
I should, in theory, be able to go, oh my God, I never. But no, that's not my reaction. My reaction is, of course that happened.
Which is why
Rundle
is so disappointing, because she has allowed the police to operate carte blanche in Miami.
Oh, not just the police, the prison systems as well. There were some prison guards that literally boiled a man alive. Yeah. And she just let it go like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, which is why we need to actually vote. Like, it is enough to just say that you're for something or against something on Instagram or Facebook. But unless you actually cast that ballot, it doesn't fucking matter.
What do you want to say to people who haven't registered to vote, who can vote? Where can they do it?
Oh, okay. So my thing to say to them is, what's taking us so long? But if you want to, oh my gosh, there are so many ways to register to vote. There are so many nonprofits that will just link you straight to there. If you live in Florida, register to vote florida.gov, or wherever you live in the country, go to your elections committee in your county. They are going to have the forms that you need to register to vote and to register to vote by mail.
Perfect. Which I hope they're gonna allow.
Huh?
What's going on with the voting by mail? Are the Republicans gonna allow that?
Okay, so depending on what state you live in, that's what's going to determine whether or not you can vote by mail. In the majority of states, you can. Actually, there are states that have only ever had vote by mail. If you live in Colorado, you only vote by mail. There is no in-person voting.
Which I think is the best way of voting. I feel like
it is. So my recommendation would be get your vote by mail ballot and then take it in person. If you're really worried about it, there are drop boxes in most communities where you can take your ballot and put it in. So you don't have to actually put it in the mail. Otherwise, please put it in the mail at least 2 weeks ahead of the election to make sure it gets counted.
All right. Well, thank you, Madame President. I hope you win forever.
I do too.
And I hope to have you back very soon here on Tonight with Tarek.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, guys. When we come back, we're going to have Mariam do a comedy set for us, and it's going to be bomb. Hello and welcome back to Tonight with Tarek. We are on our final phase, and of course, we have a very special guest with us. She is a comedian, a writer. She has an amazing show called News with a Bite that is super informative and entertaining. You should follow her on Insta and Facebook and all that. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mariam Sobh.
Hey, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome to be in Miami by way of my teleportation system here in my house. So thank you so much, Tarek, for having me on your show. I do have to say thank you to my husband for giving me permission to be here. I don't know what it is about him, but people always want to know what he thinks about the things that I do in my life. BC, before Corona, I was at work and I was talking to my coworker, Tina, and I was like, oh, I'm thinking about buying some new furniture. And she just looked at me, freaked out, like, oh my gosh, Mary, did you run that by your husband? Did you get his permission? Is he okay with that? And I just looked at her. I was like, well, Tina, did you run it by your husband before you cheated on him? You got to put people in their place sometimes. But something that I noticed about quarantine lately is that white people have become super friendly. The other day I was on a social distance walk and this lady was waving at me from across the sidewalk. And I was like, oh, is that you, Betty Sue? Oh, you're not scared of me anymore. Oh, that's right. Because we all look alike, right? We're all out here rocking the face veil. Speaking of the face veil, Victoria's Secret has come up with their own business plan to make money off of it. And I think it's cultural appropriation. They're selling face masks now. Face veils, face masks. And I think, they probably caught on to the trend. Like, if you ever wondered why Muslims have so many kids, it's because a little mystery never hurt anyone. So, yeah. There's that. But yeah, I've gotten so into like looking for masks now. I'm like, oh my gosh, you can get different colors, different styles, you can bling them up. Kind of reminds me of my teenage years in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. But over there, it was more like, how do you sex up that mask, right? That face veil, like, how do you highlight your biggest and only asset, your eyes? Yeah, that was the trends over there. But anywho, we recently found out that my husband might be deported. I know you guys were talking earlier about immigration, and a lot of people in my life, especially the white people, get really worked up about it and scared. And they're like, oh my gosh, Mariam, what are you going to do? What do you need us to do for you? Should we have a protest? Should we get a petition going? And I'm just like, no, it's fine. It's handled. Okay. Easiest divorce ever. Seriously, think about it. The only baggage involved are the bags he's going to have to take to the airport. Bye, honey. See you never. There's a silver lining to everything, in my opinion. But a little bit more about me. I've been married for 14 years. I know it's a long time to be married, and I'm only 28. I prefer the term teen bride for those of you trying to make the calculations. That's the PC term, teen bride. But if anybody actually believes that to be true, I'm flattered you think I'm that long. Look, I can't even talk. I'm flattered you think I'm that young. Maybe I am lying. Maybe I really am 28 and I just don't want you to know. Oh, wow. So I have this boss who is really into my scarf, the hijab. And like every time he talks to me, he's always like, Mariam, can you hear me? Because you're all covered up. And I don't understand the slow motion movements and like the slowing down the conversation. Like, I'm not wearing a sleeping bag. I can hear you perfectly fine. But when my daughter was going to be born, he was like, Mariam, so when your daughter's born, is she going to be all covered up?
Oh my God.
And I was like, yeah, Jim. I'm like, we're not that crazy, okay? Our babies aren't born fully covered. We wait till they're 6 months old till we oppress them. We're not that crazy. Oh, man. But one day I was in his office and we were having a conversation. And, you want to make small talk with the boss. And he's pulling this hair off of his shirt. He's like, oh, man, I hate when that happens. And I just respond in a normal, natural fashion of, yeah, I hate when that happens, too. Static electricity, right? He's like, but how does that happen to you? You're all covered up. And I just said, I don't know, Jim, you tell me, because you're bald. So I don't know where that hair came from. I know I have hair.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. But yeah, so what else can I tell you about the workplace that I worked at? I had this coworker, John, who was also really into my scarf. I'm not here to judge. Everyone has their thing that they're into, but like he would always ask to see my hair. And I get it. People are curious. They want to know what's under here. But it got to this point where he was like, Mariam, can I just see a picture of your hair? I'm willing to pay $100, $200. What's it going to take? And I thought about it and I was like, whoa, is this what it feels like to be propositioned? Because it's never happened to me. I'm just such an innocent little girl. So I came up with a solution. I photoshopped my face onto Ariana Grande's body and I emailed it to him. And it was the fastest cash I ever made. I'm not going to lie. The good thing is that he left me alone after that. But unfortunately, I found out he was harassing other covered up Muslim women in the city because apparently he thinks we're all celebrity lookalikes underneath. Yeah, which we are. Okay, you'll never know though because we're all covered up. Oh man, but yeah, as I said, maybe John's into some things, and that's his thing. He likes covered women. Who am I to judge? But it made me start to think: when John is in church and a nun walks by, is he like, "Hey, sister, how much for a peek underneath?" Is that his go-to? Oh wow! So I have a public service announcement I like to call "How to Tell If You're Racist." Every time you talk to me and ask me how my husband is, my husband Mohammed, okay, his name is Abdullah. You've known me for over a decade. Not all Muslims are named Mohammed. Fun fact, I'll go to my kids' school and people will always be calling me like, "Hey, Mrs. Mohammed, Mrs. Mohammed." I'm like, "Who are you talking to?" "I'm Mrs. Sobh." Like, I don't know any Mohammeds around here. The kids even come up to me and they're like, "Are you Mohammed's mom?" And I'm just like, I'm not the mother of all Muslim children here. And, I only had 2 kids. It's called birth control. So calm down. Oh, wow. But yeah, so one day I was in Target with my kids and we were walking around in the aisles and there was a older white woman following us around with a big smile on her face. And my history with white people, I'm half white. Okay, so calm down. My history with white people is like, they want to come up and say something to me that is usually really weird. And she came up and she was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, I just wanted to commend you on your English. Where did you learn to speak like that?" And I just turned to her and I was like, "Why, thank you, ma'am, for noticing. I've been working on my accent to sound like the big city folks." Oh. Maybe I should just adopt a Southern accent for good now. But anyhow, I was crossing the street in my neighborhood one afternoon. And as I was crossing the street, this guy muttered under his breath, "ISIS." And I just turned to him and I said, "Allah." I mean, because why would you provoke me if you thought I was a terrorist? Like, is that even a smart move? That just doesn't seem very smart. But I'll leave you with this final "how to tell if you're racist" bit here. I was walking in downtown Chicago. We have a big hospital, and I was walking past it one morning, and there was an older couple sitting on a bench, and they were motioning for me to come over, and their English wasn't very good, and so I didn't really understand what they were trying to tell me. They were just like, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," and I was like, Thank me for what?" And then the older gentleman got up and gave me a big hug, and this is pre-corona, so it was okay. And I was just like, what's going on? What are you thanking me for? He then turns and pulls his pant leg up to show me a row of stitches. Apparently, they thought I was his Muslim doctor. In that case, we'll let it slide. You're welcome. I can play a doctor. And I'm Mariam. So thank you so much for the time on this show, Tarek. I really appreciate being on here. You're doing an awesome show.
Tell everyone where they can follow you and what you're working on, other than News with a Bite.
Yeah, News with a Bite, sketches, comedy stuff, whatever pops in my head. I like to put it out there. So you can just look up my name on Facebook and Instagram, and yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Great set. Thank you, Al and Al. Well, no, now she's Madame Al. Thank you, Peter, and thank you, Villian Theater, and thank you, everyone at home watching. We'll see you next month. Good night.